Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Today, back into Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is our play by email challenge with the devilish Mr. Lodrick. And this time, what are we going to be looking for? Well, I think Singapore is definitely in Lodrick's crosshairs. The Japanese will probably launch an assault on Singapore this time. We'll see if we can hold them off. It'd be nice if we could hold them off 2 or 3 turns. Well, it would be nice. We'll see if we can actually do that. We've also got stuff moving to New Zealand. We've got stuff moving into Australia from the U.S. West Coast and through the Panama Canal. We'll be looking at that task force that he has coming down the western coast of Australia near Perth. We're going to try to respond to that if we can. We don't have a whole lot of strength over there, a lot of light cruisers, unfortunately. We've got a lot of ships. They're just a lot of light cruisers, and they're not going to be able to hang with 3 battleships. So we'll be checking that out. We'll also see if we can catch any of his subs by surprise this time. The air war in China continues. It's a very one-sided war. Anyway, this will be the combat resolution for January 22nd and January 23rd of 1942, and let's get to it and see what happened in this turn. And we're off. I think this time when I do my setup, I'll try to do, we'll go through the stats. I'll try to do the big grand overview. We'll go to each part of the map and see what of the Japanese we've discovered or reconned. We'll check that out. As you can see, the Japanese have now occupied Chengchao completely unchallenged. We had to drop out of there just because our supply situation made it so. We just weren't getting supply into Chengchao or Luoyang, and I had to pull back there. Maybe we'll go back and talk about that a little bit more. And as you see, Lodrick has brought a task force down here by Diego Garcia. That is not good for us. We've got a lot of things coming to Diego Garcia. Now, this is a very aggressive move for him. Oftentimes, you won't see a Japanese player come all the way down here. I believe this is a tanker that we have out here that was dropping off at Diego Garcia. And you can see here, he's got 2 cruisers and 6 destroyers, and they have sunk the tanker Athel Duke. Now, if I remember correctly, I think the Athel Duke is maybe a 12 or 16 point ship. You never want to lose tankers. They're worth their weight in gold. Uh, hey, you can't escort everything. I thought we could drop off a little fuel at Diego Garcia because we've got a lot of things coming out of the Dutch East Indies that are wounded, that have other problems, that we're trying to get back to Colombo. But in some cases wanted to do that through Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is also a good place to build up. Famously, this is where the U.S. has a huge Air Force base now. That's where they fly their stealth bombers out of, sometimes into the Middle East and elsewhere, up into Afghanistan and whatnot. Well, I guess they used to do it up into Afghanistan. Not doing that too much anymore. But anyway, Diego Garcia, it's a good stop. It's a good place to build up a little bit, just because if you have something that struggles out of the box from Cape Town, or you have something coming from Dutch East Indies or Australia and it has a problem, can't get to the off-map base quite yet, you could have it park over at Diego Garcia. Good move, Lodrick. He caught at least 1 tanker there. We'll see if he gets anything else. We're retreating from his surface fleet here at Perth that we noticed last time. I talked about just before we started watching the action here. He's got that surface fleet down there. We'll see how far he comes around. Now, I've got everything routed south of Perth now into Esperance and into Albany. So we'll see if he goes around the corner there. Let's hope not. This is our sub. It's a Dutch sub, the S-36. It looks like he's got an SC out here on that. We'll see if anybody does any damage. We were located by the SC, but nothing happened, which is good for us. I mean, that wasn't something that we really wanted to be tangling with. All right, he's bombarding Cebu. And I would assume then the invasion will be coming before too long. You see, he's got one light cruiser, the Nagara, and a bunch of destroyers out here. Okay, he's coming down here into Madang, so he's starting to pressure down towards Port Moresby. Troops unloading over the beach at Madang. Not much happening. Just some search coast watchers are looking at things, are seeing things, reporting back things, and then the game's just going through. I think I forget how many steps, 45 or 46 steps for each turn. Okay, this is right off Perth. Again, he's got some battleships here. I think this is just a little local minesweeper. That's pretty much the only thing I still had that was put together as a task force. Now you can disband those, put them into port, and he wouldn't be able to do this. But we do lose this mine. I guess it's a mine layer. I always forget. I know AMC is a local mine sweeper. The AM, I believe, is the coastal mine sweeper. It's got a greater endurance. Seven, it's sunk. Okay, so I think that's like a 2 point ship. Now we see he actually doesn't have three battleships. He's only got two. I say only. I mean, he still outguns us a bit, but that evens up things just a little bit if we've got three cruisers and a world's worth of light cruisers. All right, Dutch sub. We're found out by an SC again. It's an ASW attack near Mersing. Um, he located us, but nothing happened there. We're merging. That was the merging of our cruisers and light cruisers as we steam towards Perth. As I've said before, you can't allow him to shut down getting everything you need into Western Australia on the rail. Now, Albany and Esperance both connect to that main rail line, just like Perth does. So, they've got minor rail that comes up to the major rail at, I've been told it's Kalgoorlie. And so they're kind of the same as Perth in that sense. So if you can get it in, south of Perth, down into those places around the edge, then go ahead and do it because, ultimately it's going to end up in the same place. Um, we got one Flying Tiger up. This was a 0 run over Yunnan, just a sweep. All right, he does sweep over Tonggu. Now he's got some zeros coming over this area around Changsha. Nothing doing there though. Zeros over Yunnan again, and as he continues to sweep. All right, 25 Sonias bombing this group that we're trying desperately to get out of here. He keeps blocking us. Now we damaged four of these Sonias. How many actually, were destroyed or otherwise? Who knows? We took 90 casualties. All right, bombing run over Yan'an, and he is hitting Yan'an over and over. I've started to contemplate pulling the troops from Yan'an out of here to Lanchow. I mean, you cannot lose Lanchow. Yan'an, it doesn't matter that much. I mean, you can block his supply into Cyan if you control some of this over here, right? I mean, where else is he going to get supply into Cyan? So, I've bandied about because this is isolated out here kind of on its own on this minor road. We're not getting any supply up here. Anyway, he brings about 100 bombers in, maybe more. Yeah, about 120 bombers in. We damage four of them and take 104 casualties. Actually, not too bad with that many bombers. 27 Sallies, we damaged two of them, take 62 casualties. Now he's bombing into southeastern China, into these groups we talked about on the setup. 20 Lilies, and we do not hit any of the Japanese planes that we know about. We take 94 casualties. All right, Sally's and Ann's in southeastern China again. 195 casualties. We hit no planes. Now that's not the trade-off we need. Okay, six more Ann's, kind of just bringing up the rear here. They create eight more casualties. Now this is the group trying to get back to Aichang if they can. Uh, if they can, they're trying. Ida, we take or Ida's, we take 57 casualties from that group. And Zaida's Mary's hitting here at Loyang. Now we're pulling out of Loyang. Always dangerous when you're getting bombed this heavily. 160 casualties there. Because on the move, we're not going to be able to throw up as much AA. He's going to hit us more, or we're more exposed. Let's put it that way. Two Ida's damage, 35 casualties, but I just felt like we had to get out of there. You can't allow a force that big to get surrounded or to starve out. We've got to try to move it somewhere else. 121 casualties for us here in between Kukong and Changsen. Um, okay. Tojo's over the top at Changsha. Nothing to worry about there. Just a sweep. We've got no planes running cap anymore there, so you know they're just out here looking around, but they're looking for nothing that exists. Okay, 45 Sally's, this Malaysian group who, again, I'm stunned they have 32 men left. Four damaged planes. Let's hope a few of those went down on the way back. Okay, Cap defending Rangoon. The Flying Tigers get up in the air. He's really been slicing and dicing us. He's got 38 Oscars up here, 25 Sally's in on Rangoon. We're trying to hold him off here because you just can't lose the airfield at Rangoon. Now, one Sally gets destroyed by flak, one Oscar gets destroyed, and we took no losses. We did take five runway hits and one airbase hit. Okay, so we'll have to keep monitoring this. We've got to get planes up. We can't allow Rangoon to just be bombed into submission. You've got to make the Japanese player attack Rangoon because they'll lose a lot of men when they're trying to do it. Eight casualties here, six ands, and on that group that again is in between Kukong or got kicked out of Kukong. I've gotten kicked out of every nice place in this town. Batavia, Sabang, 16 Sonias in there. Nothing happened. Well, I'm not saying nothing happened, but there were no casualties and no planes were hurt. Nine Sonias. Okay, they're bombing from 8,000 feet. It's partially cloudy. Obviously messed up with their scopes because they're not hitting anything out there. Pretty quiet turn so far. You've got your usual Chinese bombing. We've lost one coastal minesweeper, and we've lost one tanker, which that's the only one that would cause me any stress. You hate to lose those tankers. Now, we've got a lot of them. You got to try to take them some places. You can't escort everything, but that was just a good play by him. Sometimes you got to say, all right, good job. If you play the Japanese, you should do what he's doing, which is go snoop around at all these ports while you can, because right now the Allies don't have enough strength to counter you. I mean, we couldn't even really over by Colombo. We really couldn't even take on that force that he's got out there with the Hermes out of action. The Royal Sovereign just floated, but it's coming down to Bombay. I mean, we've just gotten our first battleship, and we've gotten our first carrier, but they're still up at Aden trying to get down to India. They're not there yet. So just kind of remember that if you play the Japanese, deep into January here, you've got the run of the Indian Ocean if you want it. There's not a whole lot that the Allied player can do about it. So you can go stick your nose under the tent of every one of these ports out here and try to destroy something. We've also got very few torpedo bombers. Now we've got a few, I say we, the Allies, we've got a few at Colombo. And that's where I put them because to me, Colombo is the most important spot on the map that's west of Sumatra. And so I try to put everything I can at Colombo and keep it. If you lose Colombo, I kind of feel like you've lost the game as the Allies. Um, kind of, I guess the same could be said for Calcutta, but really Calcutta is a lot harder to take, I think, than Colombo. That's just my sense as a predominantly Allied player. But anyway, we've got some torpedo bombers there, but those are the only torpedo bombers we have, and we've got the one carrier. One is now being repaired back at Aden, but that's a light carrier, the Hermes, and now we're just now bringing the I think it's the Indomitable down to Bombay. So, I mean, it's our first carrier, and the British carriers aren't that good to start with anyway. But we've also got a battleship. But we, as the Allies, have to be really careful because if they run into a carrier fleet of his, we could lose a carrier and a battleship very easily. Okay, he's attacking this group here that again is just struggling like hell to get back to this hex. They've been trying since the start of the game. They keep getting their butts kicked out here, and then the only way they ever move is when he kicks us out of a hex, and that's no way to do it. But ultimately, we just don't have a decision, or there's just no other way to do it at this point. He's essentially got us surrounded from here and here. We're trying to run the gap, but as long as he bombs us the way he is, we just got to keep moving. You can see 763 to 7943. Ouch. That's you never want to be taking 10 to 1 losses. That's why you tune into this channel so I can tell you things like that. Okay, what's he attacking? Oh, he's attacking right here. He's gonna take this little potential base right there. So he takes that. Now he's hitting this group that got kicked out of Pontiac, and it finally surrenders. Now, I sometimes like to have those as kind of partisan forces running around. They can live off the land once they've gotten beaten down enough, but that one's surrendered. Okay, this is Guam. He is now attacking our base force here. It's a deliberate attack. Okay, by the time that it gets adjusted, it's only 28 to 21. Not terrible. We get a plus for the terrain, plus for our leaders, and a negative for our leaders. Japanese took 12 casualties. We took 37, but we still hold the base. Now he's attacking Balikpapan. Looks like he's got a force of about 240, 250. Out here, we've got very little strength, and he will take
Greetings,
Balikpapan. So
everybody.
this gives them a
How's
lot
tricks?
of
This is
oil,
Orphan
a lot of
Anne from
fuel
Radio
that
Tokyo,
is in a
saying hello
close
to
enough
all of her
proximity to the
dog
home
faces
islands.
and
This is a
boneheads
huge.
wandering
The
the
Japanese player
Pacific
has to
Islands.
take Balikpapan
Before we start the
and
music,
pound them
the
really, in
Japanese
my
High
mind,
Command
to have enough
announced
fuel to
today
wage
that
the war.
the ever
All
victorious
right, now we're
forces of the
expanding.
Japanese Empire
Um,
have captured
we
Balikpapan.
expanded the Abadan port. You may as well take it to a level 7 if you can. You've got plenty of fuel, or well, you've got plenty of supply, which is what it takes to expand the fortification level, the port level, the airfield level. You're always going to have enough at a place like Abaddon, so you may as well expand the port. It gets the ships in and out faster, allows more to be docked there. So, at those off map bases, always have the port expanding. Um, you don't have to do it at a place like Port Stanley that you're never going to take anything into. But definitely at, Cape Town, probably not Mombasa. You don't have to do it at Mombasa, certainly. But Aden, you obviously want to do it at Abaddon, East Coast. Well, East Coast, you don't even have to do it. It's big enough. Cristobal, you want to build that one up. So we didn't have the garrison requirement here at Mole Mine. I kind of pissed myself off there. I had pulled some things back to Pagoo, and I didn't realize we were just short. And as you can see, we're getting a lot of ships in here at Cape Town right now. All right. And it's soon. Oh, it already is. It's January 23rd, 1942. And number one on the Billboard single. No, I'm not going to start DJing for you. Okay, Madang has been taken by the Japanese as he's moving down the coast towards Moresby here. The game loves to center over Babelduab, and I always think that a lot is going on there because the game just happens to center over that sometimes when it's doing the Japanese turn or some of the Japanese functions. Um, the Piatine Sinks. Okay. I wish I could go back and read that. It said that it had been abandoned. It was like a ghost ship out there. Whoo, around Halloween, ghost ship, the Piatine. I don't know what that was about, but we lost a destroyer. It was a Dutch destroyer. So I don't know. It's like a 4 point ship or something. It's not a huge deal, but I'd like to go back and read exactly why that went down. I didn't see if it was temporary flotation. Was not successful or what happened there? All right, he's unloading around Bally Pop in there, but he's already taken it, so no biggie. Now, you saw a message there, if you read really quickly, that a Kate had been destroyed by our cap at Sydney. It was reported anyway. Now, we don't know if that actually happened really, but supposedly, now usually it'll show you the combat results if there's real combat. That is probably just, I don't know where, I mean, unless he's got carriers right off the coast there that we don't yet know about. I don't know where a Kate would have come from. So that's probably just some guy bragging to his buddies back at the mess hall. I, I don't think that that actually happened, but we'll see if the game reports it further. Yanan, okay, he's got zeros that swept over the. Oh, hey! And look, I was making fun of the guy at the chow hall that was bragging about shooting down a Kate. It looks like he actually did because here come the Japanese carriers. 18 zeros. We've got 18 Warhawks up. Um, Now, these Warhawks have got a bunch of greenhorns piloting them. So this probably isn't going to go too well for us. But if we can knock out a couple of zeros with their advanced pilots, that's great. But also, even above and beyond that, it sort of lets him know, hey, we've got air cap here now. We've got American fighters here. This isn't going to just be you shooting your Death Star rays out here. It's not, Superman's eyes. Poof. We've now got planes up. So you are going to be taking a little bit of a risk if you start bombing these places. All right, zeros, one destroyed. Warhawk, six destroyed. Now, we don't want 6-1, but we're going to get better pilots into these guys by releasing the Greenhorn pilots and bringing in guys from the reserve that actually have experience and good air-to-air combat. 12, and we'll do that during the setup this next time. 12 Oscars, sweep. He's bombing this group out in Malaysia again. Hey, let's damage some more planes if we can. Nope. But he doesn't hit us with his bombs. There were thunderstorms over the top, if you read quickly. 2 zeros, sweeping Yan'an. So his carriers are right off Sydney. Now, I have evacuated Sydney, so I mean, there's not a whole lot for him to do there. And I put those American fighters there knowing we may lose some of them. I've got replacements on for that group. Why is that? Well, because they're very likely to lose planes. But I wanted to let him know it's just not going to be carte blanche out there for the Japanese anymore. He's at least going to run into fighters. Now, maybe not great ones, maybe not great pilots, although we're going to rectify that soon. um, 60 casualties reported. We damaged one Nell. I'll keep this moving as I'm yapping my flap. Okay, he's coming in again. 18 zeros. We'll see how much cap gets up. We've got 10 up. He's got 18 zeros. Now we're going to probably take some more losses there. But again, he's going to be a lot more reticent about sending bombers in to our ports, our major ports at least, up the east coast of Australia. We had one Warhawk destroyed. We'll take that. I'll take that. That's okay. That's fine. We lost seven altogether. He lost 1-0. That's not all right. I mean, 3-1's the most you would want to accept, really. But He now knows he just can't, just fly over Sydney and bomb everything in the port. 24 casualties reported out here. We don't hit any lilies as we start the Chinese bombing campaign. 33 bombers in here. No Japanese losses. We took 6 casualties. Okay, 24 ands in on us there. We damaged one plane. He didn't hit us. You can see here, weather and hex thunderstorms. 6 ands, nothing. Group trying to struggle back to I Chang, getting hit by 9 Idas. 27 casualties reported there. All right, we got about 70 bombers over the top here. 2 of them are damaged. We took 85 casualties trying to get out of Loyang down this road. Now you can see he's already in Cyan. I'm just going to go to about here, and I'm going to hop across, and try to get them across the river. We're going to try to run through the middle here. I pulled them out now. I thought this was probably the best chance we were going to have to get them out. 103 casualties into this group that's in between Kong and Shansen that he's hit several times this turn. All right, 48 sallies into the lost squad of Malaysia. 43 casualties. We damaged 3 more planes. Now, I don't remember. I think this group does have an AA group in it, but man, have we damaged a lot of planes for a grand total of like 300 men casualties. All right, Flying Tigers are up. We get 2 of them up. 36 Oscars, 24 Sallies trying to hit Rangoon here. We're going to get really hurt by that group, but hopefully we get them with some flak. 1 Oscar destroyed. We had 1 Flying Tiger damaged, 1 destroyed on the ground. God, I hate that. He got 4 airbase hits, 7 runway hits, 1 airbase supply hit. We gotta protect that airfield the best we can. We've got a lot of engineers there that can repair it. The problem is we don't have a lot of supply there, and not a lot more coming because through a combination of naval and air, he's really kept supply out of Rangoon uh, at a pretty good job of doing that. 7 casualties here on the group trying to get out of Loyang. Okay, here come the carriers. 9 vowels, 13 zeros. So he's escorting everything in. He must have seen that we had fighters. This is a local minesweeper, the AMC Samuel Benbow, or Benbow. Okay, that was sunk. I think that's a 1-point ship. We didn't get any cap up there. Now, half of that squad was active this turn. The other half will be active next turn. Some of them are showing as damage. They just haven't, fit out at Sydney yet. But we got to get the experienced pilots in there if they're going to be taking zeros like that. All right, we had the Stingray. You may have seen that go by. The Stingray is the last out of the submarines coming back from Manila. It's trying, but I don't think it's going to make it actually. Luckily, we're getting a lot of new subs upcoming here. All right, sweep. Now he's going to bomb with some Nels. 36 casualties reported here. No planes were damaged that we know about. Okay, coming back in, we did get 3 Warhawks up at least so far, and we're engaging. Let's see if we can take out any of these zeros or vowels. Looks like we may have lost a couple planes. Let's see if he did as well. And then we chase him back out with a Warhawk. Okay, we did destroy 1 zero. We damaged 1 vowel. and we took no losses. Good job, guys. Three runway hits in at Sydney, airbase supply hits at one, airbase hits two, so he caused a little bit of damage, and now he's going to bomb Newcastle. um, I've only got our cap set at a range of one. So it would, protect right here. It's not going to protect Newcastle. We just don't have enough there for it to matter. Airbase supply hits one, port fuel hits one. And so I've got a very limited cap over the top of Sydney and Port Kembla here. There's Sydney. I was pointing at this like that's Sydney. That's Port Kembla. I always get those two confused because this map the way it is. Now he's gonna bomb Canberra. Well, get off the capital, man. All right, we got some AA up there. You saw. Again, our cap is not extended out that far, which is fine. Airbase hits two. Airbase supply hits one. Runway hits two. Now he's bombing into Yan'an with a big group. I mean, that's over 100 bombers, well over 100. We damaged six. Oh, shoot. I didn't scroll down to see the casualties there. He had so many bombers, it pushed him to the next page. I think that was like 130 casualties, something like that. Tojo's over the top of Changsha, just doing a sweep. Now the poor soul's trying to get back to Yan'an. One damaged Sally, 40 casualties reported. Nine Sonias. Okay. So now, if you think about the battle over the skies of Sydney, we've taken seven destroyed planes. He's taken two destroyed zeros and one damaged Val, which we're not sure if that would get back. All in all, I'll take that. I'll take that because I think he may pull out of there a little bit because he just can't afford to lose good planes like that and good pilots, and he's not gaining a whole lot. I mean, he's not really hurting the runway at Sydney. Whatever he hurt will be very quickly repaired. We've got a lot of supply there, and we've got a lot of engineers. Hell, we probably got 500 engineers at Sydney, so that's not going to last long. They will repair that airfield right away. Um, Okay, this is the SSRO-67. This is a Japanese sub against a little 1-point AKL, and it looks like he's just absolutely smoking this thing. Did we hit him though? We did. Awesome. Okay. Well, the Matthew Flinders shell took 22 shell hits and a torpedo hit. Wow. Okay. Talk about overkill. But we hit him seven. We will certainly make that trade. If he loses that sub and we lose a little AKL, fine. Now, I would love to have gotten the supply in there. You can see the Stingray still in trouble. Um, okay, now he's at Dongala with an amphibious invasion. All right, I think that's about going to be it, except for the land phase. And there it is, the invade. Or I say the invade. Well, it is sort of an invasion. It's crossed a small body of water. This is the attack on Singapore, and we'll see if we can hold on here. He's got 429, 450, 436, a couple of 100s. He's got a 423, a 490. My goodness gracious. He's got a lot of artillery out here. Meanwhile, we've got about six or 700 combat value. Um, Even if we had the other two or 300 that I very well should have got down here to Singapore. I was lollygagging a little bit. I didn't realize that Lodrick was quite the good player he was. I thought I had more time, but I didn't. But even if we had that, this is just an overwhelming force. There's absolutely no way we could hold on to this. Uh, Maybe for a turn or two, we'll see. But he just continues to blast away there at Singapore, and you can see the numbers click down as these units take losses to their combat value, whether that be through actually losing little squads or disruption or whatever. Okay, they reduced our fortifications to a 2, but that's actually a good sign. That means he didn't take the town yet. Fortifications went from a 3 to a 2. His adjusted assault value was 4594. He's got 91,000 troops, nearly 1,000 guns, 541 vehicles out here. We've got 37,000 troops, 496 guns, 324 vehicles. Uh, his assault odds 3-1 against a fort level 2. Okay. We have a plus for terrain. He has a plus for a shock attack. We've got a minus for experience. He took 4,700 casualties. Very nice. We only took 2,386. I will take that. Now, he lost 46 guns. We lost a big number of guns, 150. Vehicles, he lost 119. Some of those are just disabled. We lost 43. But we have held Singapore for a turn. Now he's going to take Guam, and you see that he captures Guam as our base force out there just surrenders. They were never going to hold that. 30 casualties for the Japanese, 472 for the Allies. Now he may finally wipe out this group. Oh, he's just. Oh, it is a shock attack. Okay. Let's see. This poor Malaysian group out here. Yeah, they finally surrender. It was time. These guys held on forever. We really knocked a lot of planes about. We damaged a bunch. I don't know how many went down. Japanese took 16 casualties. We took 226. All right, now you can see us expanding fortifications. We did just jump back up to a 3 in Singapore. We've got a lot of engineers there, so they built our defensiveness. Hey, that may hold them for another turn. If we keep getting 2-1 casualties out there in our favor, heck yeah, I mean that's great because we're going to lose it, of course, but we haven't lost it yet, and we finally blooded his nose really for the first time in the game, so that's great. I was also really happy with what happened in and around Sydney. I do think he will move those carriers out of there because he just can't afford to lose a bunch of carrier aircraft. And if we've now got Warhawks up in the air, which we do, and we have them there, we have them at Brisbane, we have them at Townsville, and up and down the coast. Hey, that's finally we can defend Eastern Australia. When we come back on the setup, we'll go look at all of those planes that came into Australia here in the last turn or two, and we'll talk about pilots, how to replace them, who we want to get into those groups, etc., etc. We'll take the big look around the map, and we'll also look at the stats. And as you can see, what we have arriving this time, we've got some cargo. We've got some cargo up at Aden. We've got a support vessel that arrived at San Francisco. We've got some planes that are coming into Hyderabad, and we'll have to check that out. I think these are all bombers. I usually have my bombers train at Hyderabad, so we'll check that out. We got some new fighters that came into Los Angeles there. I think they were coming down the rail from the East Coast, but we'll go check it all out when I come back. Thank you so much for joining me. This was a good turn for us, I think, in a lot of ways. And having played in advance a few turns, the tide starts to turn a little bit. It's not just Lodric gallivanting about the map anymore. We're now starting to put up quite a bit of resistance in a lot of locations. So this game is going to get a lot of fun. It's already been a lot of fun, but even more so. So anyway, Strategy Gaming Dojo, I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.